Ladies and gentlemen, this review has caught me completely off guard because I wasn't planning on reviewing this project. And that is Sean Combs' The Reckoning, a Netflix documentary series. This was something I was going to watch just to kill the time. And not only that this Netflix documentary series caught me off guard and just let me from shock from start to finish. And I've been aware of the whole things that's been going on with Diddy all until recently. And that's the reason why a lot of people have was like trying to skim through it and say that look, I'm already aware of what's going on in Hollywood. I'm already aware of those, just of the situations that's going on with Diddy and people that's going to speak out about it. But the reason why I recommended you guys to watch this is because not only that this is something that we've already been aware of, but this Netflix documentary has literally shone a lot of light, like spread a lot of light to things with Diddy that really surprised me of the things that people was literally tolerating. It literally painted a new image of a monster in his soul that gave me another twisted version of him that people wanted to express and people wanted to say for a very long time, since the early 90s. And when I've seen this project, it really shocked me. I thought that this was just gonna be about a lot of closure, about like the things that he's done, people talking about the things that he has done to him physically and mentally, and people just speaking up about his behavior. But no, like these was scenes of cases not being solved, being swept under the rug, and just people being tormented of Diddy's behavior. All that being into a 4-episode documentary series that literally put me into a gripping hold for start to finish. And by me already being aware of how toxic and how devilish Hollywood is, even though I thought it was not going to surprise me, but it gave me a new version of just showing how hot hell really is in this industry. When I was watching this project, I thought this was just going to be about the trial and the things that people were saying about him and all that being into fruition. But no, they wanted to go far as into knowing about Sean Diddy Combs' narrative of when he was young, how he was raised, and how he ended up being infatuated with fame and how far would that fame and his career would get to him to this point. And above all, just who would lead him and how he was getting his influential mind state from. I thought that was necessary. I feel like by us knowing Sean Diddy Combs and us knowing what the media tells us, we don't know what his infatuation has led to this point of how he was beginning to get into the corrupted state of his personality. And they explained it to the point where I have to say, just the first episode made me understand like at least 90% of his narrative. It's like, okay, wow, like he was young, he wanted to play hard, he wanted to act hard, he wanted to prove himself to a lot of people because he was surrounded by a lot of people that had what he wanted. But not only that he wanted it, he wanted to obtain it, and he wanted to be bigger than the people that he looked up to. And the people that really that took care of Diddy wasn't really of a good role model to begin with, and the people that was good role models wasn't there to nourish him. So it showed me his ambitious side. It showed me where he got all his infatuations from, and at the same time, it also showed me that there was no one there to correct him whenever he was going out of line.
What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place, and I didn't necessarily understand it.
And by this happening, it made me understand his corrupted shell was beginning to open. When it came to him being older, I was beginning to see where the manipulation was beginning to take a play with his character. His way of manipulation, his way of him trying to swindle his way out of trouble by buying off people, and the way how his horrifying infatuation of parties was beginning to take play as well.
I definitely didn't have to. First and foremost, I'm not getting the bet. Shout out to him and what he did. I'm just gonna, if we can, let's just put the camera a little this way, just so we're not. I don't want my shot to even like, I don't want it to come close to the bed. Usher look like he fresh off a goddamn plane. I should.
Fresh off the guard stage. That's my brother right here from day one. We used to wake up and I mean, damn, pause, but like just I mean, back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the Frosted Flakes. You know what I'm saying? Before pause was invented. You know what I'm saying? But it's my brother for real. We used to actually wrestle off of the Frosted Flakes because he used to always get up early with me. Now he's one of the richest stars in the world. And
What the fuck did Puff just say? Nobody's gonna acknowledge this but me. Puff just said we used to wrestle over the Frosted Flakes, and we're streaming live. That was stupid. Listen, that was fucking stupid.
In the way how it shed light into what got him into this whole thing of him doing these parties and doing things at these parties, it all made sense in a way where it was like, you know what? I can understand why he ended up doing this. And at the same time, I'm pretty sure that if there was more Netflix documentaries or just documentaries in general of people doing these things like Diddy, I'm pretty sure they will all have the same narrative of what got them into this in the first place. When we get deep into this project and knowing about Diddy's past and up until recently of how he ended up becoming more famous and obtaining household names, making television series, real life television series, and above all, just blowing up off the wind and just having a lot of brands, this is when we begin to get introduced to other interviewers to show us their experience with Diddy and at the same time their horrifying memories that gave them a lot of traumatizing experiences with him. Like Aubrey O'Day. I haven't seen Aubrey O'Day in a long while, and she has aged. She has aged a lot, and it actually shows my age as well. And what I liked was that she actually explained a lot of things about what happened to her, of just how she got fired and her coming into a whole little bit of a conspiratorial hunch, thinking that maybe she wasn't sexualized enough for Diddy to accept her. And it even coming to a whole darker tone of her history as well, of people was spreading rumors about her being involved into Diddy's accusational sexual acts too, and about her not being conscious, and then somebody seeing her in a room doing sexual things with Diddy, and she's not remembering it. So Aubrey didn't even want to go in deep into this investigation because she's afraid that if she does find out the truth, how would that hurt her? And if it's not true and she tries to spread this and saying that he done this to him, then the media will shun her for being a liar. So she was stuck into a balance that she can't get herself out to, that really traumatized her and actually traumatized me in a bit in a mental way, being like, man, like, I don't know what I would do if I was her. We also have a lot of other interviewers that I haven't seen that end up speaking amongst Diddy's behalf, or just literally spreading a lot of things of misconduct of Diddy's behavior, such as Kalina Harper, Eric Sermon, Al B. Sure, and Mark Curry. Mark Curry, he actually made me know about Diddy's behavior a long time ago. I've known about Diddy's behavior from Mark Curry. I remember in his first interview when I was looking at a lot of conspiratorial videos when it comes to the Illuminati, the All-Seeing Eye, and all that stuff. When I was young, my cousin was showing me a lot of videos about celebrities selling their soul to the devil and stuff, and he was like telling me, look, you want to look at this is about Illuminati, and it was traumatizing me. And that's how I found out about Mark Curry's documentary when he was being interviewed. He was like literally saying how much like Diddy is not to be trusted, how Diddy was suspect, and how he was like doing like a lot of bisexual acts when it comes to him having orgies and stuff.
Two is, one thing we always remember is the truth will always set you free. Yes. And one thing about the truth is it can't be denied.
Mm-hmm. Khaled made a comment on the last episode. What did he mean when he said this?
I remember Diddy saying, if you get on your knees.
What was he talking about?
I said if you get on your knees, you're supposed to cry. If you're singing a song.
When someone mentions or alludes to anything about the rumors about Puffy being gay or any of that, does that shock you, or does that, or is that kind of like I can see that?
Yeah, because see, I don't have to actually see two men engage in sexual activity to say he's gay, because gay is a way of life. So I can look at the way you handle your money. I can look at the way you treat people. I can look at the way that you want it to be all about you. So you gotta look at how women are. Women have a certain characteristic about themselves that men don't have. So then you start looking at, yo, why in the world is you the only rich person and everybody else? Like, why is it so much about you?
And even him owning Bad Boy was not true. It was actually Biggie that really owned Bad Boy instead. And by him explaining this, it gave me a whole new look of not just how Hollywood was, but just how Diddy was. And at that point, it made me be a little distant with his character. But what really broke my heart was Will Smith. When I found out about Will Smith and what he was doing and just the stuff that he's doing now, Hollywood in general, man. But this documentary with these interviewers was shedding a lot of light towards Diddy's behavior. There was a lot of people that was telling stories about what he was doing even before he ended up becoming mainstream, and that was leading to a lot of accusational lawsuits towards Diddy when it comes to him being involved in Tupac and Biggie's murder. And it was not what you think. It was not like where he was just had his whole little hand in this. It was to the point where people were seeing that he was involved because whenever like March 9th happens or whenever a day would occur where Tupac's video would show up, he would just flick the channel, or at the same time, he would just try to forget it by having another orgy party with certain people that would be involved. This documentary shows not just Diddy and just the consequences that he's going to be facing, but it also shows what would happen if a broken man has a lot of power. What would happen if a man that is influenced by a lot of evil, a lot of manipulation, begins to have a lot of money, and above all, if he has a lot of connections to get out of these problems. And people was even saying this. They were saying that by Diddy doing all this, I'm surprised that he's been doing all this up until now. He's one of the main people that's been doing this since 1991. And when a person said this on this documentary, it didn't shock me because again, I've kind of been aware of the whole like things of that Hollywood has been doing. Problem is they don't hide it anymore because negativity has become numb to the social media aspect. I'm just waiting for when they have a documentary of Drake. I want to see a documentary of Drake. I want to see a documentary of Ellen DeGeneres. I want to see a documentary of Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and I want to see a documentary of Oprah. Those sons of bitches are the real devil horns of Hollywood. I'll just leave it at that. Overall, this documentary was pretty good. I was satisfied of just how much I've learned from this documentary. Some people were saying that this documentary had some false narratives, but let's be fair here. They're going to give you information, but just not all of it. And I think this documentary has given me enough information to really know Diddy's formality of his personality. You want to know everything about Diddy? You want to know everything about every celebrity? That's unheard of. That's never going to happen. Netflix is never going to give you enough information to the point where you're going to know everything about these people. I would have been surprised if they had Lil Wayne on here. If they had Lil Wayne on here, then I'll be shocked because there's been a lot of things that Diddy has done with Lil Wayne and even Usher, but we're not going to get to that point. So I can understand that people was like, nah, they're not going to go that route. But again, it gave me enough to understand the apples that's growing into this tree. And by that, I'm going to have to give Sean Combs The Reckoning an A-. I can understand why 50 Cent made this documentary because he's one of the main people that don't like Diddy. And but let's be fair here. I think the main thing that shocked me was not just Cassie, but just how she tried to put Kid Cudi in the middle of this whole thing. And I really felt bad for Cudi because he was going through some things already before Diddy even got involved into the whole triangular situation. But that just shows you that no one can be trusted in Hollywood. That's the only thing that I do know is that the higher you go, the more people are gonna sharpen their swords to stab you in the back. But that's all I gotta say. There's not really much I gotta say about this documentary. But other than that, y'all, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Check out the documentary whenever y'all can. If y'all did, comment below and let me know what y'all think.